In the previous class, we have discussed about the transformation of sentences on the basis of interchange of degree of comparison. That how on the basis of the positive, comparative and superlative degree, we can transform the sentence from one kind of sentence to the other without changing the meaning of the sentence. Today, in the similar manner of transformation of sentences, we will learn about the exclamations and the statements. Exclamations and statements. What are the exclamations and what are the statements? Exclamation when we say something with surprise or when there is a strong reaction or strong feeling, when you are extremely sad after hearing a news, when you are extremely happy, when you see something very amazing in front of your eyes and suddenly you say wow. So all these are the exclamations. Your sudden reactions, your sudden responses are known as the exclamations. And here we how these exclamations are used in the sentences, all of you must have learned this thing also in your previous classes. What are the statements? The statements are simply the declarative sentences or the assertive sentences. Statements are also known as assertive or declarative. Whatever we say in normal, the sun rises in the east, I go to the school, we are going for a movie, we had a good weekend. All these are the statements in any form, present, past, future, anything. Okay, when we are talking in general, then all those are the statements or the assertive sentences or the declarative sentences. So today we will learn here that how we can change the exclamations into the statements and statements into the exclamations. Okay, so for this, see, when we are learning this, particularly in this chapter, the transformation of sentences, you can see that I'm quoting the examples only. There are no definite rules. Like in the previous class, I told you that when we transform the sentence from one form to the other without changing the meaning of the sentence, and what all the three things we have discussed in the previous class, there were certain rules. If we talk about voice, the active voice and the passive voice, there are rules that the subject of the active voice sentence will become the object of the passive voice sentence and vice versa. In the speech also, you have certain rule that how to change the tense of the sentence which is within the inverted comma. Okay, in the case of simple, complex and compound sentences also, we have learned that in the simple sentence there has to be one finite verb. For the complex sentence there has to be one main clause and one or more subordinate clause. For the compound sentence there has to be at least two main clauses. So, in all the previous chapters where we were transforming the sentence, we have learned some rules. Here, in this chapter, we are not learning the rules, but we are simply learning the ways in which we can transform the sentence. And you have seen this when we were discussing about the interchange of degree of comparison. There, I gave you the examples only, I did not quote any rule. Okay, so same will be here in case of exclamations and the statements. Here also I'll explain this thing to you with the help of a number of examples. So first we will start. Let's take the example. Suppose the sentence is, how lovely the garden is. How lovely the garden is. This is uh, and this is the mark, exclamation mark. So this represents this. This is an exclamatory sentence. Means here you saw the garden for the first time and you were very much fascinated with the beauty of the garden, and as soon as you entered the garden and you saw the garden, you say, wow, how lovely the garden is. So that was a sudden reaction. And when in the same sentence, this is the exclamatory sentence, when you have to change the same sentence into the form of a statement, how can you say? The garden is very lovely. The garden is very lovely. Now here also you can see that the meaning that we can derive from both the sentences is the same. But this is an exclamatory sentence and the second one is a statement, or we can say the assertive or the declarative sentence. And in most of the cases, when we were discussing about the exclamatory sentences, then you can see that in most of the cases, you see the question word at the starting. Although this is not a question, but in most of the cases, in exclamatory sentences, you can see that the sentence starts with the question word and ends with the exclamation mark. Let's take another example. What a good idea. This is an exclamatory sentence with exclamation mark. What a good idea. You are discussing about something and someone suggested an idea. So your the reaction could be, what a good idea. So if you are speaking in this way, it is an exclamatory sentence. The other way, how can we change this exclamatory sentence into the statement? It is a very good idea. Different sentences, same meaning. The first one is the exclamatory, the second one is the statement. Let's take one more example. How quickly the holiday has passed. Exclamation mark. How quickly the holiday has passed. Statement. The holiday has passed very quickly. The second one is the statement. So this is the way you can change an exclamatory sentence or the sentence with exclamation mark into a statement. and vice versa. If it is given in the form of a statement only, then you can also change it in the form of an exclamatory sentence. So we have quoted a number of examples here to make it clear to you. I hope all of you understood this thing very well. And everywhere you can see this thing in the starting. This is also the exclamation mark is a symbol that the given sentence. First, you need to identify the kind of sentence. Suppose if a sentence is given to you and if it is asked, suppose I'm giving you an exercise and I'm writing that change the following sentences into the statements. And all the sentences that are given there will be exclamations. You can change it easily. And suppose in an exercise I gave you 10 sentences and I'll write change the following sentences into the exclamations and statements. Means wherever the statement is given, change it into the exclamation, and wherever exclamation is given, change it into the statement. So first you need to identify which one is the statement and which one is the exclamation. So for that, if it is the full stop, it is the statement. Or if the exclamation mark is there, then it is the exclamation. And in most of the cases, the exclamation sentence start with the question word. Though it is not a question, but it will start with the question word. And the statement will begin simply with any subject. So this is the way you can identify the exclamation and the statement. For example, in the exercise 2, the first sentence that was given here is how pretty the baby is. How pretty the baby is with the exclamation mark. So how will you change it? The baby is very pretty. This will be the statement. And so far we have discussed all the examples in which we were converting the exclamations into the statements. Now let's take an example where we will convert the statement into the exclamation. So, uh, he walks very fast. Now, first of all, the identification of the sentence, the full stop there, and it is starting with a subject. So, that is why this is a statement. Now, since it is a statement, we will change it into the exclamation. And when we will change it into the exclamation, how fast he walks. So you can see when I change the sentence into the exclamation, it is the question word, and here this is the exclamation mark, and that's why this is the exclamation. So this is the way we can change the statement into the exclamation. Let's take one more example. It is a very terrible noise. It is a very terrible noise. So when we will change it into the exclamation, what a terrible noise it is. What a terrible noise it is. This is the exclamation. Or if you want, you can remove this it is. If you will write what a terrible noise only and you will put the exclamation mark, then also it will be a complete sentence. So in this, both the sentences is right. Sentences are right. This one also, and if you will write this much part also and put the exclamation mark, then also the sentence is correct. So this is the way we can change the exclamations into the statement and the statements into the exclamation.